Hello, welcome to our 15th episode of Muschachusetts. I'm your host, Bob Tremblay. Today we're going to talk about 5 dangers you can run into with your sled dog team. So we actually have snow in the forecast, so we've been running with wheels on a bike and with a scooter for a couple of months now. So hopefully in a couple of days we'll be able to get the sled out. But today we'll get out on our run, and it's Black Friday after Thanksgiving, so we may see some people on vacation kind of touristing around here. But anyway, we're looking forward to a good run, and we'll talk about 5 dangerous animals you can run into with your sled dogs.
Ready? Up. Let's go.
So in today's video, I will be doing a countdown of the 5 most dangerous animals I have encountered while dog sledding. So while the dogs get through this gate here, there we go. Right. They did their G around on command. The number 5 most dangerous animal I've encountered while dog sledding are bears. And the thing about bears, it's unlikely that you're going to run into them when you're dog sledding. Typically they are hibernating during the sledding season, but this summer I did run into a bear. And here's some video. We were out on a bike trail, and way down the trail ahead of me I thought I could see what initially I thought might have been a very large dog, but then I saw that it was indeed a black bear. And so when the bear saw us, it just ran off into the swamp. The dogs got very excited, but I was really happy because the dogs just charged ahead. They did not try to pursue the bear into the woods. So that was a good thing for them to encounter. But typically, be aware if you do see bears, you kind of want to give them their distance. A bear could really wreak havoc on your dogs for obvious reasons. But also I think it's important to not have your dogs be panicky and running away from things. But they should also know not to run and chase things when they run into animals. So there we go. Our number 5 animal are the bears. The next most dangerous animal that I have encountered when dog sledding is the largest deer in the world, and that is the moose. And so here in Massachusetts, in central Massachusetts where I live, we have the highest population density of moose in the state of Massachusetts. And they really are pretty common. We see their tracks a lot. In fact, in the video that I posted last week where I went scootering with my sister, we ran into these moose tracks right on the rail trail that we were on. And they look like deer tracks, but you can see the size just relative to the bike, how large they were. So we didn't see the moose, but we did see the tracks. Here's a moose that I encountered one time right near one of my sledding areas. Basically, you want to give moose their distance. Moose have been known to actually charge into dog teams and actually kill and destroy sled dogs. Here are some tracks we ran into last winter, and for comparison to see how large their hoof print is you can see right here that basically a moose's hoof is about the size of a dog's head. So you can just imagine the danger that a moose represents to a dog. It can cave his skull in instantly. So a moose is something that when I know that they're on the trail, I completely avoid. I will stop the team and I'll turn around and go somewhere else if I know that there's a moose. They are out in the wintertime. All right, the number 3 most dangerous animal you can run into when you're out there with your dogs are horses. And horses themselves aren't really necessarily dangerous, but they can really have a bad encounter if you run into horses when you're on the trail. This right here, these are my neighbor's horses. They have 5, and this is right out my front porch. And so my dogs see horses on a daily basis, but there are times when we have been out sledding, mostly when we're bike shoring, and we have run into equestrians who share the trails that we use. When I see horses, I will pull over and control my dogs and allow the horses to pass by. I'm not so much worried about my dogs, but I am worried about how the horses will react. So out of respect for the horses and the riders, I give them space. But by far, a dangerous animal you can run into are porcupines. And porcupines are very common. And unfortunately, both my dogs have had bad encounters with porcupines. This is a porcupine I saw while hiking last year. And the porcupines, the danger of them is that they're not very aggressive, but they're slow. And the dogs are very tempted to chase them and grab them. And here are some pictures. Bandit got quilled this past September. Got about 50 quills in his legs and his chest. I was able to get them all out, except for one in his wrist that we had to go to the vet to have removed. But porcupines are definitely dangerous because the quills can really cause havoc to your dog. So they're common, they're slow, dogs like to chase them, and the quills are a definite hazard for your dog. But coming up, by far and away, the most dangerous and most likely animal that you are going to run into when you are out running your dogs, other dog. My experience is that I try to avoid going on trails where I know other people are going to be hiking. The danger of other dogs is that you just don't know how your dogs, or even more importantly, how the other dogs will react. Right in this clip right here, over on the right-hand side by the lake, as we were running by, there were two people walking a husky. And you can see how my dogs got distracted. They wanted to go say hi. I'm trying to teach them to go by, so I just kind of pulled them by. But the danger here is that when they go off like that, and they're not listening to you, they get tangled up. So in this case right here, Bandit actually passed underneath the gang line, and he got it, his back end of his harness up over his neck. So I had to pull him over and get him untangled because they can easily get hurt. And then another dog encounter just recently was just the other day after we had our first snowstorm. I was out, these are the roads in my neighborhood. This is just down the street from my house. And as I was running along, I ran into one of my neighbors was out hiking with his hunting dogs. And so right here you can see I am putting the brake on the sled. I'm setting my snow hook. My dogs are under control, but his dogs are unleashed and they come barreling up to say hi to mine. So fortunately, this was not a dangerous encounter. It was a friendly encounter. But basically, he did not have control of his dogs, and they're running all around, and now my dogs are paying attention to his dogs rather than paying attention to me. You can see how they're spinning the sled around even though I have it hooked. Finally, well, actually here, I got the hook in right here. And you can see that once my neighbor finally gets over and starts to control his dogs, you will see here how Shiva's leg is really wrapped up in the line. So you can see, I mean, literally she could break her leg right here. So the danger of other dogs is that you don't know how those dogs are going to react, you don't know how your dog's going to react, and it can cause all kinds of tangles and problems and other things. So now to kind of finish up our ride, I'll share this fun little moment here. This is just 2 days before our first snowfall, and things were pretty cool. This is an area that we go to a lot in the summer. The dogs are accustomed to going down and taking a dip in this lake whenever we're out here running. And on this particular morning, you can see that the lake has hardened up. And so the dogs get a little surprised, just a little reminder that winter is coming and that snow is in the forecast. And so anyway, that's a little bit about the 5 most dangerous kind of common animals that I run into when I am running my dogs. So now we'll just finish off our ride and then we'll conclude in a moment.
Good. Yes, yes. Paw around. Good dogs. Good.
Well, that was a fun run. The dogs are inside. Before I can go inside, I've got one more thing I need to do. I need to get the dog sled out. I'm very happy to say that right after I got the sled out of the shed and onto the porch, that night it snowed, and it snowed, and it snowed. And over the next 36 hours after this video was shot right here, we got 25 inches. And I was able to run the dogs with the sled right from my driveway. And that video is actually posted on the channel now. So hopefully you've seen it. If not, go and take a look for it. Come on. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Muschachusetts. Until the next time, I'll see you on the trail.